Alright, what is up? Professor Cyanide here, back with another sports video. And it looks like, here we are. I'm going to talk about every team going into this season, starting with the NFC North. And I'm going to give my overall prediction of how they're going to end up based on what happened this offseason, because we even still got some trades. I definitely waited for this video because I knew some big trades were going to happen. So, first thing I'll talk about the Lions, because the Lions are the easiest team to discuss. I think they're still a threat to, they're still Super Bowl contenders. It's just relies on how much losing Ben Johnson, and losing their defensive coordinator, who I'm forgetting the name of, Glenn Ross. What was his name? Aaron Glenn. So yeah, they had Aaron Glenn. Yeah, they lost Aaron Glenn, lost Ben Johnson, but they still have Aiden Hutchinson if he can stay healthy. If their team stays healthy, they're such a stacked roster. I'm sorry, and their offense is still great. Gibbs, Montgomery, Goff, a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. This team is still set to win at most 14 wins, and I think only a minimum of 11 for the Lions. I am predicting another team to win the division, but honestly, if the Bears are a wild card team because the Lions are the Lions again, I'm not going to be too upset by that. The Lions are not frauds like some of these other teams. Now we move on to the Vikings. So the Vikings are interesting because they had one of the, if not the easiest schedule last year. And now people are acting like that they're legitimate contenders, like they didn't just fall apart at the last second. And you want to blame everything on Sam Darnold, but the defense wasn't playing as well. Whenever they faced real contenders, they would struggle a bit. I wouldn't say that they lost against real contenders all the time, but it was just I don't know, the Vikings had a really easy schedule. They took advantage of that. Too many close games against some mid-teams from last year. So I'll just talk about the positives before I get on why I think they're going to miss the playoffs this year. They have one of the best receiver cores in the league if you include Hawkins. They got TJ Hawkinson, they got Addison, and they got, of course, Justin Jefferson. I think Addison's slightly overrated, but I'd still have him over a lot of wide receiver ones. Outside of that, though, at the start of the season, so they're going to have a suspended Addison. Hawkinson's a bit shaken up. Justin Jefferson has a minor injury, but that shouldn't matter too much. After those 3 games is really when this team's season's going to start. Let's say they just shit the bed because of that, and they start off 0-3. Okay, so now you got to rely on a rookie J.J. McCarthy, and that's where that comes in. I think outside of just having some pretty good personnel and overall pretty good defense, it's just, this team just doesn't feel that special to me. J.J. McCarthy is not him at the moment. It is weird that J.J. McCarthy is viewed as the savior of this team when he hasn't done anything, and he was not that impressive in college. He was in a super good situation in college and put up okay numbers, but if you compare his numbers and the way he played to Penix, to Nix, to Caleb, to Daniels, to Drake May, to all these other QBs that were drafted in that draft, it's just, I don't see him being as good as those guys. And those guys did great, and I know that's a pretty high bar, but for some reason people are just default putting him at that bar and saying, oh, well, the coaching is good. They've always had good QBs, but it's just I don't know, Kirk Cousins had a few years under his belt developing before he went there and played mediocrely and wasn't even that good, so I don't know where that one came from. But it's I guess they revived Sam Darnold's career, which is cool and all, and that is a feat of coaching. Is that guy, nobody was expecting the Vikings to be good last year, but I just don't buy into them. I didn't buy into them as a 14-win team last season. They felt like a 14-win team trapped in a 10 or 9-win team's body. And with a rookie QB and a much, much harder schedule, I don't see them making the playoffs. I was contemplating saying that their ceiling is 7 wins. I think it's 9. It's a cool 9-win season, maybe 10 if I'm being generous, but a lot of these games, when you look at their schedule, look very losable for the Vikings. I think they're going to be better than this next team. Next team up, Green Bay Packers. So they just got Micah Parsons, and I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the positives of this team. They have quite possibly the best coach now in the NFC North. I think the NFC North has the most stacked coaching staffs. Like, you got Campbell, you got the fucking guy, I forget, Flores or whatever, whoever the fuck is the coach of the Vikings, I forget his name right now. You got LaFleur and you got Ben Johnson now. That is insane. And that's where this team has thrived. They have one of the best defensive coordinators. They have one of the best coaches. They're able to put their team in situations where they can win these close games because they're just out coaching everybody. But last season, like the Vikings, easy schedule. Very easy schedule. And they were cutting it to the wire against like the Colts, against these teams in last year's Jaguars. Jaguars will be better this season. I'll get to that later. I just don't believe in this team. Jordan Love is mid. One. Josh Jacobs is the real heartbeat of this offense. They don't have a real wide receiver one. Jaden Reed, he's fine. He's a good vertical threat. I hate watched a lot of Packers games. I don't get it with him. Great deep threat. Tucker Kraft is better as a receiver. And honestly, that's probably their best receiver. And tight end as your best receiver is never really that good. Unless you just have an elite quarterback or your tight end is so good it's like a Brock Bowers and the rest of your receivers are like mid to high level wide receivers. You get the point. That's not a good offense. They faced some weak rushing defenses last year. I just don't believe in like this isn't the scary Packers I'm used to. This isn't like when Aaron Rodgers is just like every year they were the team to beat. Every year they were scary. Every year it seemed like that they were invincible when we face them. Jordan Love doesn't feel like he's a god amongst men. Jordan Love feels very like a very human quarterback. He has issues staying healthy, which best ability is availability. Jordan Love is just not that good of a QB. His stats kind of stunk. He is a big pooper shooter if they're ever struggling in a game. The only time the Packers do well is when they're 100% in control of a game. The second a game slips away from them, they fall apart. And that's their biggest issue. Another issue, they lost their best defensive tackle, and they lost their best cornerback. All they gained in this offseason was Matthew Golden, who is probably going to be wide receiver one for this team, and Micah Parsons, who is an upgrade at edge. But I don't think Micah Parsons is a defensive back now. And I know getting to the back of the field, but like you can deal with an edge rusher, you know, to an extent. Like an edge rusher them having a good edge rusher is not going to shut down the Bears. It might shut down the Vikings, but honestly, their offensive line is so good. J.J. McCarthy might just have a good rookie season because of that. But I don't know. I just don't believe in this defensive. One of the worst defensive back units in the league. One of the worst receiver cores in the league. Mediocre QB. Pretty good running back, but it's just like, I don't know. I just don't have any trust in like, how as a Packers fan can you trust Jordan Love? Jordan Love, you don't win with a Jordan Love quarterback in the NFL. And I'm talking about Super Bowls. Like, you guys might get a wild card 10-7 season again. Whoop-de-fucking-do. You guys are not winning a Super Bowl. The second you guys face a real fucking team like the Eagles or the 49ers, a healthy 49ers I'd like to add, a Buccaneers, like, I don't see them beating any of these playoff teams unless if it's like a Rams playoff somehow, or like, I don't see them beating a Commanders. I don't see them beating even their own team, like their own opponents in their division. I have the Packers, like the Vikings, as a ceiling 9-win team and as a floor 5 wins. I am locking that into that as my lock. I think the Packers and the Vikings are frauds this year. All right, next on to Chicago. This is the most improved team from last year. I don't think many other teams have improved this much. Maybe the Broncos? I don't know. I'll get to some other teams later. The Bears got Loveland. They got Burden as new weapons for Caleb Williams. And they upgraded their entire interior O-line in free agency. They got Joe Tooney as a new guard. They got Jonah Jackson. And they got Drew Dahlman as center. All three are massive upgrades. And that cannot be understated for this Bears team. Last year, they had plumbers as their interior offensive line. Speaking of the only shining member of that offensive line stays with Wright, but the issue is Braxton Jones and Ozzie Trapelo, who Ozzie Trapelo never played left tackle in college. We're trying to make him play left tackle. I'm going to trust the process with that one, but I don't expect Ozzie Trapelo to be starting at any point this year. We're gonna probably have to see a lot of Braxton fucking Jones this year, and he is definitely the weakest part of it. Everyone else checks out. We got two great tight ends. I know one's a rookie and one's Cole Kmet, but Cole Kmet's underrated, and Loveland is gonna be as good as Warren, and I think Warren's gonna be good when I get to him. DJ Moore's still DJ Moore. DJ Moore had a slump last year. Ben Johnson will break that slump. And that's part of another thing with the offense is they have Ben Johnson now. You don't think that there's maybe some... Okay, they have one of the best offensive lines in the league, so it's not the offensive line. But I don't know, a good offensive coordinator, a good coach can cover some of your weaknesses sometimes. And I'm not saying that the Bears aren't going to struggle against good teams like the Eagles and shit. We're going to get fucking creamed by the Eagles. And I'm not expecting the Bears to win more than maybe one playoff game this year. But on paper, our team is tight. Next point of contention, other than Braxton Jones, is our defensive line. So the Bears' defensive line is the issue with this team. On defense. On defense, at least. Our secondary is great. We have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Not the best, I would say, either top 5 or hovering around top 5, maybe top 8. Jalen Johnson is a top 5 corner. Bynard is great. Brister's great. Kyle Gordon's one of the best slot corners in the NFL. This team has a lot of strong suits. Cairo Santos randomly could hit 58-yarders. I forgot to add that. And really nothing else got added to this defense. We got fucking the defensive tackle from the Falcons, and then we got Ode from the Colts. And there's a reason why both those players walked. None of those teams felt like paying them the money that they wanted. And there's a reason why the Bears got them. They're not these aren't earth-shattering guys, but there are slight improvements to last year. And we got Shamar Turner, who will be a project piece, who I think will start hopefully by next year. I think our pass game is going to be elite. We might struggle in the rush game. And I think the teams that we're going to really shine our pass defense against are the Lions and the Vikings. And we did at times shine our pass defense against them. It was just we had Matt Eberflus. And I think Dennis Allen's going to be a significant upgrade in defense, and our defense wasn't even that bad last year. So if Dennis Allen is him, and I'm ready for him to be him. That's enough about the Bears. I think we have a ceiling of 12 wins and a floor of 8. Next, I'm going to go to the NFC East. We're moving on to the Eagles, defending Super Bowl champions. Best defense in the NFL. Best offensive line, arguably. Maybe the Lions have them beat. One of the best defensive lines, one of the best secondaries, if not the best secondary. There's also an argument there, especially with Cooper fucking DeJean going into his second year, already showing signs of greatness in his first year with the team. They got Jahad Campbell in the draft, which is stupid. I don't expect him to start this year, but you could see him here and there. This team has borderline no weaknesses. Expect them to go for another title run at the Super Bowl by the end of the year. Minimum 12 wins, maximum 15 or 16. Next, we're going to the Commanders. Now, the Commanders were the big surprise of last year. I don't have them being a surprise this year because in order to be a surprise, we have to not expect it. I actually just expect them to be, even though that there will be a wild card team, they're going to probably be the best wild card team in the NFC. Jaden Daniels is a pretty solid guy. He had a better season than Caleb. I will admit to that. I think Caleb's going to be better overall, but that's just my belief as a Bears fan. In the current day reality, Jaden Daniels was pretty good last season. Somewhat of an easy schedule, but their wins didn't feel fraudulent, and when it came time for the playoffs, they played pretty fucking well. Jaden Daniels is a bit lucky last year. I think the defense of the Commanders is very underrated. I think Terry just got re-signed. They just got Debo. And luck will just happen in football any given Sunday. And I don't think this team is just, they're lucky. Zach Ertz, underrated, receiver for this team. Underrated defense. Solid team. Very well coached. One of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL. And that's all I have to say about the Commanders. There isn't too many weaknesses other than the fact that they are a bit inexperienced. And their defensive line, I think they lost a bit there. They could have just upgrades at the secondary positions. When I say that they're underrated, I mean they have Bobby Wagner and shit, and they're gonna do better than you'd think just by looking at the names. But that's the issue, is that their defense they don't have a Micah Parsons. They don't have Jalen Johnson. They don't have a fucking Aiden Hutchinson really on that defense. And that's just the one thing that they're missing, is just a star defensive player. And honestly, that could have been a cool Micah Parsons place if they didn't have to pay Terry McLaurin. I think their ceiling is 12 wins and their floor... Honestly, they have one of the most safest teams to pick for. Is a ceiling 12, floor 10. They're not going to really surprise me too much this season. And they could go for another deep playoff run. But I think teams like the Eagles should just stop them in their way if they're healthy. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that I actually do really like this team. I also think that their division's very, not winnable, but they're going to beat the Cowboys and the Giants. Speaking of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, thank you for making my job easy. I don't have to talk about the Cowboys' defense. They might have the worst defense in the NFL. I'm not going to talk too much about them. Their linebacker's good. Their middle linebacker's good, but no stars on defense anymore. They lost Micah Parsons. Dak is underrated, but Dak is also Dak. Their offense is going to be electric. A healthy offense will just be insane. I really like their receivers now with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. That is going to be nasty. Pickens is what Vikings fans think Jordan Addison is. Pickens is probably the best wide receiver too in the NFL. That team's going to be so fun to watch. They are a team I'm going to definitely tune in for. I'm going to like watching this Cowboys team. Also, the running back situation isn't the best. Their offensive line needs some work. I see this being a closer to a bottom feeder of a team. I see a ceiling of 7 wins. Maybe. 7 wins might be a stretch for them, and I see a floor of just 4 wins. I think this could be a very miserable Cowboys season. We could just see MVP candidate Dak again. And even then, I don't think MVP candidate Dak could save this team. They're really bad. Let's go to the Giants. Underrated defensive line, one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. If you know, you know. Outside of that, mediocre defense. They have 3 QBs, and none of them should be starters. But it's not like they're bad starters. It's just none of it. You ideally would want something better than a Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. Okay, Jameis Winston's a backup, but Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart. But you use Russell Wilson now as a bridge QB for Jackson Dart in the future. Your team's not going to win very many games. You have Malik Neighbors and a bunch of scrubs. I guess their tight end's okay, but It's Malik Neighbors and a bunch of scrubs. I'm gonna be honest. Tyron Tracy's is okay. They just have a bunch of okay players on this team. It's the most okay, good job team ever. It seems like maximum. They're rebuilding maximum. Let's say peak 5 wins, 3 wins minimum. There. 3 or 2 wins a minimum. They just have nothing special going on. They're pretty bad. They're in a division where I think they lose to every team twice. Yeah. Not going to spend too much time on the Rams. It looks like Stafford's not starting or some shit. I don't know. If Stafford starts, they have a chance of winning the division. If Stafford doesn't start, then it's just going to be a 49ers sweep. The Rams overperformed last year. I think they have another chance of overperforming again because Sean McVay is a ceiling riser. Their defense is underrated. Their offense can still put up numbers. They still have targets. They have Adams. They have Nakua. They have Williams. Their offense is not bad. Their offensive line, a little shaky at times last year, but I don't know. They're very mid everywhere. They're a very mid everywhere team outside of that. I'm predicting a maximum 10-win season and a minimum 5. They could be pretty bad this year. Next after the Rams, we're going to the Cardinals. Hilarious team. They just felt underwhelming last year. That's the best way I can describe the Cardinals. Underwhelming. Very underwhelming team. Like Connor's good, but he's underwhelming. Like James Conner, if you have him in fantasy, you might fucking put your thumb up your butt and be like, yay, I got some James Conner points. But if Murray's going to have a good year, if their defense is going to improve, if Harrison takes the next step, I could see them sneaking into a wild card, but honestly, no. I think this team's borderline about to rebuild. And I don't know if Kyler Murray's him. He's good in fantasy, but I don't know if he's going to be the future of this Cardinals team. But the Cardinals are just such a mismanaged organization that it's just hard to put too much blame on Kyler Murray. And at times, he just feels like him and Trey McBride are the only players on offense. And Connor, but you know what I mean, like passing offense. Marvin Harrison should take a jump forward this year. He looks more like an NFL player and less like a college player, if that makes sense. Physically. And hopefully, he does better. Kyler Murray's short ass can fucking see him, so he can throw a touchdown or two. Floor 5, 6 win. I would say 6 win. 6-win floor, 9-win season ceiling. Just because Kyler could play hero ball, and they actually, if I'm correct, have a pretty easy schedule. Next is the Seattle Seahawks. They're trying to enter the Arch Manning sweepstakes. I'm talking about the Seahawks. It's making me sick. They're starting Sam Darnold. They're a sleeper 0-16 possible, 0-17 possible team. But I could see them sneaking 1 or 2 wins. I don't know. Ceiling 4 wins, floor 0. They're going to be one of the worst teams this year. And Sam Darnold, if that Sam Darnold from last year shows up, this could be like a team that could play spoiler for like the 49ers later in the season, or some like just weird team that wins like 8-win games, but like spoils a lot of teams' playoffs aspirations. So with that said, if Sam Darnold is as good as he was in the regular season last year, they could win like 7, 8, 9 games. But in reality, 5 win max, 2 or 1 win. I'm going to say 1 win minimum. They will win 1 game at least this year. Next, we're on to the 49ers. The 49ers are the potential team, the potential man team. There's so many potential men on their team, like Ricky Pearsall's a potential man. Juwan Jennings for the 49ers. I mean, he's been fine for them. If McCaffrey stays healthy, if McCaffrey's legs don't explode this year, they should be fine. Yeah, it's just everyone staying healthy. Purdy's still not the guy that you can just have him carry your offense throughout the season. And those quarterbacks are rare, so I'm not like, come on, 49ers, find that guy. But it's just, It's just Brock Purdy's just not that guy in the same way as like Jordan Love isn't that guy. I think the 49ers have a very complete team. They've been so close so many times. They have one of the best coaches in the NFL. They have the most cake schedule this year, and that's why I'm going to give them a 13-win max with, honestly, a 10-win minimum. They should win 10 games at least if they stay healthy. Even if they get injured a little bit, their backups at running back are good now. I don't know how their GM keeps getting away with these fucking weird signings and trades that just put them in these situations. It's like, actually, things aren't that bad for the 49ers. And if they're not facing too many difficult teams, they could go on a deep playoff run just by having that bye week. And sometimes that's all that matters. Getting that bye week can help with your playoff one. It can help you guys stay healthy throughout the playoffs. And yeah, 49ers, bang bang Niner gang, I guess. I'm believing them. They might be a lock for winning the division. I could just see the Rams, Sean McVaying their way into winning the division, but just gotta stay healthy. Next, we're going on to Tampa, the Tampa Bay Binguses in the NFC South. NFC South is going to be pretty simple to go over. Tampa Bay has an underrated defense. With some actual like standout players. They are aging, but they're still standout players. Bucky Irving's one of the best running backs in the league. Baker Mayfield was a surprise. If Baker Mayfield can stay consistent and play as well as he did last year, I mean, at least in the regular season, this team could just casually waltz into a playoff position again. And even if he has a mediocre season, I could see this team just winning the division anyways. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet because I don't think they're like going to win a Super Bowl or anything next year. I think they're going to be either a first or second round exit. They could be, if they're facing like the Packers again in the first round or some shit. I mean, I said again, but you know what I mean. If they're facing the Packers, they're probably going to win that one. Not if they face the Bears, though. The Bears are going to win the Super Bowl. Okay, I'm just going to be quick. The Saints have absolutely nobody. They're starting Spencer Rattler. Chris Olave's probably their best player, and he's injury-riddled all the time. Their ends are okay, but they're also old as shit. Tyrann Mathieu said, fuck this, and retired. You guys are probably going to win the Arch Manning sweepstakes. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Maximum amount of wins, 2. Minimum 0. I think you guys are going to win 0 to 2 wins this year. It's the worst roster since I've ever really cared about football. The worst roster I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. There's just nothing good about that team. All right, on to the Falcons. The Falcons are a possible wild card to win this division. Same goes with the Panthers, but I'll get to them in a bit. Michael Penix was looking good when he was on the field, but he is a question mark. He still feels like a rookie. He's not a rookie. I know it's different than NPA. And you got to really trust that guy to lead your team. Now, I like their wide receivers. I really like Drake London. I like Darnell Mooney. I like Kyle Pitts, even though I think he's underutilized. And I like their run game with Robinson and Algier. Their defense has a bunch of holes, though. Their defense is probably going to fail them. But, hey, they get to face the Saints twice, so they get 2 easy wins. Honestly, it's going to be 50-50 with the Panthers, but I think because of their defense, they're going to struggle against the Buccaneers, and that will keep them out of the playoffs. I see a minimum of 6 games for the Falcons and a maximum of 9. Pretty short and simple. They're still rebuilding, so. The Panthers have the most interesting young roster in the NFL, other than maybe my Bears, of course. I like Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young had a pretty decent second half to last year. If he can keep that up, the Panthers are going to be fire next year. I like Crooks. I like Leggett. I really like them drafting Tet. Some people did not like the Tet pick. Their defense is still going to struggle. They don't have an edge rusher. They're pretty mid on defense. Yet again, the Buccaneers are a nightmare matchup for them. I see this kind of similar to the Falcons. I see a 9-win maximum, 6-win minimum. I think people need to pump their brakes on this team. Also rebuilding. Hopefully in the draft next year they draft some defense. Bills are a very interesting team because Josh Allen is the best player by far on that offense. Khalil Shakur is okay, but they have not had a real star receiver since Diggs, if I'm correct. They might have had someone else. Remember Sammy Watkins? I do. I don't think he ever played with Josh Allen, though. Kincaid's okay. It's just Josh Allen playing hero ball fucking every game. I know he had a bit of a down year last year, but they were still a really good team last year, and they still won a bunch of games. And if this doesn't continue to be the trend, and we see an actual MVP, not a fake MVP, Josh Allen, this team's still going to be a Super Bowl contender because their defense is awesome, and their receivers are serviceable. Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakur, not the best fantasy receivers, but they won't drop every fucking pass like Mark Andrews seemed to want to do. I don't know. They're there. They exist. Somehow Josh Allen will get the ball to them. I see their ceiling as like a 14-win team, and their floor as honestly like a 10 or 11-win team. I'm just gonna say an 11-win team to stay safe. All right. Hi. Quick editor note. I wasn't jerking off here. I wasn't rocking back and forth, stimming. I was itching my foot really hard. I had a really itchy foot. I have a bunch of bug bites on my foot, and I was itching it. Thank you. 11 to 14 wins is very doable for this Bills team. And they should honestly, there's a good chance they just go 6-0 in their division, which does help. The ability to go 6-0. Bosa's huge, or at least be a number one, like a 1 through, what would it be, 1 through 4 team? Yeah. In seeding wise. So yeah. Next team is the Dolphins. Dolphins, when healthy, are a very fun offense, but their defense is mediocre, if not terrible. I think they're an underrated Arch Manning sweepstakes winner. They need to rebuild. They just need to hit the restart button. Tua's not it. If Tua feels like he's a concussion away from retiring. Winter is always coming towards this team. They always fall off during the winter. It's how the Dolphins seem to be. They just feel like a very soft team. Overrated coach. But one of the worst GMs in the NFL, if we're going to be honest. And I don't know, nobody's ever like, I want to play for the Dolphins when I grow up. You know what I mean? It's just a very unfortunate sports organization. They had that one undefeated season and a whole lot of nothing after that. Wasted Dan Marino's career. I don't know. Like they should be fun to watch when they're healthy, but I see a ceiling of 6-7 wins and a floor 4-5 wins. I'm gonna say 8-win ceiling, 5-win floor. Not a very good team. They might beat their rivals, the Jets, who I'll go on to next a bunch of times. So probably not. They got Justin Fields. They got Mason Taylor. They probably got some other things that I can't remember right now. Their defense is still pretty tight. I don't know. They're a wild team. They could be second in the division. I don't see them beating the Bills. I see them struggling against the Patriots. Justin Fields, I think, is not that good of a QB. This is kind of his last shot in the NFL as like a starter, as a legit starter, and it's on the fucking Jets, and I don't believe in that. I don't believe that happening. Aaron Glenn should make this team a top defense. Expect the Jets to have one of the best defenses in the NFL, but then one of the worst offenses. This team's going to be like, I don't know. I was going to say that Fields team that was good, but none of them were good. His offensive weapons aren't that bad. Justin Fields can look good at times. It's just we didn't see that much in Chicago, and we saw glimpses of it in Pittsburgh. But like what I said, It really depends on how good he is and if he's really that guy like his fans think he is. I think their ceiling is 7 wins and their floor is 4 wins. They're pretty bad still. I just raved about their defense and I said that they were only going to win 7 games, but it is true. Next we go to the Patriots. The Patriots did not really improve where I think they needed a wide receiver, but they did improve in other places like offensive line, and I think they also improved defense, and they got Travion Henderson, who is going to be one of the most electrifying rookies this year to watch. I don't see this team as a playoff team. I think Drake May's very good. I had him as the 4th best QB, 3rd or 4th best QB rookie last year. I think him and Nick's played comparably well. It's just Nick's got more opportunities to shine, and I don't think I should take that away from him. But Drake May will be the full-time starter, and this is going to be a good sophomore year for him. I think he's going to turn some heads. I think he's going to be good with variable. I think they're definitely going to be more of a run-first team, and they should be this year. And that's not to say that they can't run a lot with Drake May. It's just this team should be run first. The receiver room is awful. A lot of unproven players, and then Wash, Stephon Diggs, and then Hunter Henry, who's okay. All right, and so I think that their ceiling is 9 wins, and their floor is 6. Just because I just see too many holes in this team. Next is Cincinnati. Not much changed. Hendricks, I guess, isn't going to hold out or anything like that. They got to air it out every game. They could still be a playoff team, but they could also just completely miss the playoffs. They're really going to be hard to watch. I hate that Joe Burrow doesn't have an O-line. Their O-line stinks. And honestly, it felt like their team should have won more games, but they just didn't because their defense is too bad. And it's Hendricks and a bunch of turds. One of the worst secondaries, if not the worst secondary in the NFL. They get burned constantly. And I get that they're not facing the best talent in the AFC North when it comes to receivers, but like, I don't know, I'll just see them get destroyed by Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Not a very good team. Going to have a lot of high-scoring games. Should be fun to watch. Joe Burrow's him. I could see this team winning. This is going to be like one of my biggest spreads because I could see them winning 12, 13 wins, but I could also see them winning 7 or 8 wins. It's such a fucking hard team to rank. A great running back, great QB, best receiver core in the NFL. Very hard team to watch. Joe Burrow, please don't get injured for the sake of your aura. Next, we're moving on to Baltimore. Baltimore should have they're on paper the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. They have the number 1 QB. They have, or arguably the number 1 QB. One of the best QBs, has not shown up in the playoffs. They have the best secondary in the NFL. They have one of the best front 7 in their like defensive line and linebackers. They have Roquan fucking Smith. And then on offense, they have not just Lamar Jackson, but they have Likely. Andrews can be good for them. These players that have proven that they can be like good players. It's just they just aren't all the time. They're just inconsistent. That's the issue with the wide receivers. And I'm going to be honest, they don't have a standout wide receiver. They have Derrick Henry, standout running back. They are a run-first team. But they just seem to also just play down to competition. I don't get this Ravens team. They will annihilate a team that they are supposed to be close with and then get annihilated by like the Browns the next week. And then the next time that they face that other team, in like the playoffs, they do bad. I don't know. This team is just getting hard to believe in. I still have them as like a top 3 Super Bowl contender. The Ravens are going to be a good team this year. I see their ceiling being 15 wins and their floor being 12. 12 or 11. I'm going to say 11. 15 and 11. That's their floor. Next, one of the more interesting teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Top tier defense. Terrible offense. It's kind of how I want to just sum it up. One of the worst QBs in the league, which is hilarious to say about Aaron Rodgers, because he's one of the best QB in the league, if not the best QB in the league, for like over a decade. Their running game should be fine, I guess, on paper, but they still have one of the worst offensive coordinators in the NFL. And what is his name? Matt Canada? What kind of fucking stupid ass name is that? Anyways, I don't believe in this team. Their best receiver, they downgraded to DK Metcalf from Pickens, and Pickens was younger, and Metcalf is older. I don't get it. They play like Metcalf isn't really that good. I don't know. I don't like this roster that they have. I think Caleb Johnson should be okay off the bat, I guess. Warren's okay. His offense stinks. They're gonna have a lot of boring games that they win like 12-10, and it's just gonna suck dick. And no one's gonna like watching it. And they're gonna win 9 games. Their floor is 9-8 and their ceiling is 9-8. Fuck it. Next we get the Browns. I'm gonna keep it short. I think that they drafted like shit. I think Graham is one of the only in Judkins, and even then the Judkins pick might not work. I don't know. I just don't. They have a bunch of draft picks, and I don't know what they're gonna do with them because their drafting has not been the best. Obviously, their QB1 is Joe Flacco. Their salary cap situation is bad. Jerry Jeudy's their best receiver, and that's not too bad, but it's just like they drafted 2 rookie QBs, and neither of them are going to start. Meme ball Joe Flacco bringing this team to the playoffs would be funny, but I highly doubt it unless the Browns have like the easiest schedule ever, which I don't think that they do. I see this team as an extremely flawed team, and I see them as a ceiling 6. I'm gonna say a ceiling 5-win team, floor 2-win. They're pretty bad. They're pretty fucking bad. Next, let's talk Texans. Texans. They didn't really improve the O-line that much, but they improved it enough to where it's not going to be as bad. It should still be really bad. Top tier defense. Nico Collins is great. Like the Jaden Higgins draft pick. There's actually a lot to like about this team. It's going to suck not having Mixon at first. They could struggle early and then just come back and win the division. I like this team. I think they are honestly a surefire winner of the division. But then that's it. It's just, okay, they're going to win the division, and then what's going to happen in the playoffs? They're going to face the Bills. They're going to face the Ravens. They're going to face one of these other teams. They're going to face the Bengals. They're going to face the Broncos. They're going to face the Chargers. And then these teams are just going to continuously... Not always, because Justin Herbert might expose himself, but yeah. CJ Stroud seems to be an interesting QB to build around, considering the fact that he seemed to have hit his ceiling. I don't buy it quite yet, but I do get where people are coming from. He doesn't seem that impressive, but he's not bad. It's not like if I'm a Texans fan, I'm not mad if my QB is CJ Stroud. Honestly, ceiling 11-win team, floor 9. I think this team's just going to be a playoff team. Next thing goes with the Jaguars, who could shake things up, but I doubt it. Trevor Lawrence, I don't believe in him. I'm out on Trevor Lawrence. He's not good. He's just not good. This is probably going to be one of his last years, if not the last. I don't know how many more years he has in his overpriced contract. But he's out. I wouldn't have much faith in him for many more years. This is it. They gave him Liam Cohn, and I know their offensive line isn't exactly the best. They just got Travis Hunter, who is going to be playing more receiver for them. He has great hands. Excited for that. And then Bryce Thomas Jr. is going to be good. They have a triple threat running back. They're going to be a fun team this year, and I could see them upsetting the Texans and winning the division with like 9 wins. And honestly, I don't think that they have that, or 10 wins. I'm going to say their ceiling is 10 wins. Floor of like 7. On to the next one. We're going to the Colts. The Colts have one of the funniest QB situations in the NFL. They're starting Daniel Jones. This team stinks. This team really fucking stinks. Their rookie tight end might end up being their best receiver this year. I don't like Joshua Downs. I don't like Michael Pittman. I do like Taylor. Taylor for years has been, and they're probably going to be a run-first offense this year. I really like DeForest Buckner. Great team, great player. One of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. Buckner's great. And, yeah, I just think that they have some alright pieces on defense. And Richardson has been a bit of a letdown. And if Richardson can't stay healthy, I know there's some like weird Richardson fatefuls, but I don't believe him at all. I never really believed in him in the first place. Daniel Jones sucks too. This team's just gonna suck anyways. It doesn't matter. We'll see probably both of them play this year, and maybe even Riley fucking Leonard. Jesus. Colts ceiling 6 wins, floor 4. Their defense can only save them so much. Next, going on to the Titans. Rebuilding. Better receiver core than people give them credit for. Not really. They just have Calvin Ridley and a bunch of scrubs. Tony Pollard's okay. Their offensive line is poopy. They have a rookie QB, Cam Ward. Cam Ward should struggle. I'm expecting like 18 touchdown passes and 9 interceptions from him and like 2,500 yards, maybe 2,300. Something kind of shit, if I'm going to be honest. They're only going to win like 4 or 5 games. I'm predicting a 4-win ceiling. I don't want to talk about them that much. They're pretty fucking boring. They're young. They're not very good. There's only so many times I can go, oh, this player sucks, this player sucks, without the video being as long as it already is. So you know what? Fuck the Titans. Minimum 2 wins, maximum 6. Fuck you. Next to the Raiders. The Raiders got Geno Smith, which is a huge upgrade. Their wide receivers still suck. Their corners still suck. They got Genty, which is an upgrade. One of the worst offensive lines in the league. Brilliance. I really like Genty. Genty has a lot of potential in the NFL. Brock Bowers is still on this team. Their defense stinks, though. They're not making the playoffs. They might go 0-6 in the division. I see them winning at most 8 wins, and that's being generous. And I'm not in a generous move, so 7 wins. In minimum 5. They're a pretty easy team to predict. There's not much you're going to get from the Raiders this year. Next, we go to the Broncos. Bo Nix was the surprise rookie even more than Drake May. Sean Payton is a genius head coach when it comes to developing talent. And when it comes to coaching, especially the QB position, he loves setting up his QBs for success with great check down passes. Bo Nix might be a little boring to watch this year. And this offense might be boring other than R.J. Harvey. And Evan Ingram will hopefully step up. It really matters if the rookie running back, not rookie tight end, but their tight end can step up. And we can see this defense really become the force of nature I think it's destined to be. They have top 1 defense potential, top 5 defensive back unit in the league. Just a great team overall. They made it to the playoffs, but they honestly felt like that they earned it. They exceeded and went above and beyond on expectations, in my opinion, last year. So, fuck. I mean, their ceiling is better than people will give them. I think they have a 12-win ceiling and a 9-win floor. I I really am high on the Broncos this year. Next, we go to the Chargers. Not quite as high. I am high on them, but they're going to disappoint in the playoffs. Who fucking cares? I care a little bit. I'll talk about it more. I guess they got Trey Harris. Ladd's kind of still the best receiver. Herbert does not have all the help he needs. I still think that their defense is good. It's just their offense. They just don't have too many weapons. And it's just going to come down to Herbert having a good season, Hampton having a good season. I think that they can even beat the Chiefs in the regular season. The sky is fucking endless. And they're another 12-win ceiling team. It's just 12-win ceiling. Honestly, I don't see them having a losing year with Justin Herbert unless there's a ton of injuries, so 9-win floor. Next is Kansas City. They're the last team to talk about because they are the greatest team ever. No, I'm joking. But I think they're a very interesting team because they do have one of the best coaches, if not the best coach currently in the NFL. They have a top 10 defense. They are lucky as shit. Their clock management is amazing. I think that's the best thing about their team. They're a very conservative team, but I could honestly see this season going dire for them and for Patrick Mahomes to need to play hero ball. And it's really just once they get Rashee Rice back, and that will be in Week 7, which it will be a while from now. Unless if that suspension gets shortened for some reason. Fingers crossed I have them in fantasy. They could struggle this year. And I know that they made it to the playoffs without Rice, but you got to remember context. When I talk about the Vikings or the Packers or these teams I think are fraudulent, the Chiefs felt kind of fraudulent. Now they showed up better. It seems like the teams that they faced in the playoffs just lost to themselves. And they just own the fucking Bills too. So they have their flaws. I think their defense is still good. I think their receiver core is not underrated, but it's just not as elite as you'd want it to be, especially if you're Patrick Mahomes. But I think this team might have to rely on some Patrick Mahomes hero ball later in the year, and I do think that there's a good chance we see the Chiefs miss the playoffs, which is why I'm putting their floor at 8 wins. They were a team that felt like at times they should have been an 8, 9, 10 win team, and instead they weren't. And I'm only putting their ceiling at 12 wins. And that's if we get the Patrick Mahomes we know he can be consistently. And I'm not going to count out this team at fucking all. It's like when people used to count out fucking Brady and Belichick. I'm not counting out Mahomes and Reed. And that's it, I guess. Don't count out the Chiefs. I think the team that will take the biggest jump this year will be the Bears. I think the team that will surprise people the most are the Broncos, and I think the team that will disappoint people the most are honestly the Packers or the Vikings.